So, tell me about coming home, and
well, coming home, naturally, what did you do? You sat out on deck all day long, taking in that sun if it was a beautiful day, and just to know that there was nobody shooting at you, it was unbelievable.
So, did you have a girlfriend at the time?
No, no.
So you came home to your parents?
I came home to my parents, and that was when I got home. After I was home about a week, my mother said to me, "You don't have no clothes." I said, "Well, what happened to all my clothes?" She says, "I threw them away because I figured you weren't going to be able to wear them when you came home, you know." So she says, "I want you to go down to Chestnut Street and Walnut Street," and she says, "Remember, it's south of Market." I said, "Mom, I know where it is." So I go down, and what happened, I wound up north of Market on Spruce Street.
Oh, well, that's
Arch
still
Street,
south.
Arch Street,
Okay.
Arch Street. And I'm walking down the street, and I say to myself, I must be on the wrong street. That's all it is electronic places around here. And all of a sudden I see this place with a flag, American flag, hanging out. So I says, well, I wonder what's going on there. And I walk in, and in there, they just opened, they're giving out sandwiches and drinks, and it's a place called Almo Electronics. And I walk in, and as I walk in, I see on the floor is all the equipment I operated during the war. He must have bought it in surplus. So somebody comes in, he comes up to me and he says, "You know anything about that equipment on the floor?" I said, "Yeah, I operated during the war." So he says, "I'm a ham." I said, which is a, short wave. So I said, "What do you want to do?" He says, "Well, I want to see if I can work it with my equipment." I said, "You can, but there's only one thing. You got to put a high antenna up on the roof." He said, "Well, I have an antenna up now." So I said, "Well, then you're in business. Go over there." He said, "I'll take one." I said, "I don't work here." I stopped in to get a sandwich and a drink like everybody else. So, make a long story short, I said, "Go over to the counter, somebody will wait on you." So he goes over. Meanwhile, there's a man listening to this whole story, an elderly man. And when he went, I sent him over there, then he said to me, he says, "How would you like to come to work for me?" I said, "Why, do you own this place?" He says, "Yeah, this is my place. I just opened it. I used to work for my competitor, which was Radio Electric up the street." So I said, "Nah, I get $20 a week for 52 weeks for doing nothing." So he says, "But I'll pay you more." Well, to make a long story short, I get home and I said to my father, "Boy, did you raise a dumb son." My father said to me, "Now what did you do?" I said, "I got a job and I start Monday and I got to work even on Saturdays and I'm going to get $25 a week." I was getting $20 a week for staying home, Dad. And my father said, "You did the right thing." And he was right. I was with the company for 45 years. I was the executive vice president of the company. We were one of the largest distributors of electronic component parts. We traveled, my wife and I traveled all over the world because we sold and we imported from all over the world. And that was my division. Since I was overseas a lot and knew a lot of the places, they put me in charge of that division. And that's what I did. And I'm still friendly with them. In fact, the son-in-law and the daughter, who our father owned the company, they still have the company up on Roosevelt Boulevard. And we go out at least 3 times a year. I get together with them, or I go up to the company, and when I come up, all the flags they can fly, they put out in the building.
So do you still see anybody from the service?
Only person I'm in contact with is my commanding officer, and he's a brigadier general.